Question 9. Calculate the following. Part A. 5 squared times 2 cubed. This is worth 2 marks. So these are indices or powers, and they tell you how many times the number has been times by itself. So 5 squared, or 5 to the power of 2, is 5 times 5. And 2 cubed, or 2 to the power of 3, is 2 times 2 times 2. So this one's nice and easy. 5 times 5 is 25. And 2 times 2 times 2. We deal with the first two first. 2 times 2 is 4. And then times that by the third 2 then. 4 times 2 is 8. So our new sum now looks like this. 25 times 8. 25 times 4 is 100. So doubling that then to be times by 8 would be 200. So you'll get 1 mark if you see either 25 or 8. And then the second mark is for the 200 for your accuracy. Timesing decimals, 1 mark. Make our life nice and easy. Let's get rid of these decimals here. So we're left with 3 times 6. Well, 3 times 6 we know is 18. But that's not what the question was asking us. The question was asking us 0.3 times 0.6. And the easiest way to do this, you count how many numbers are after the decimal points. So there's 1 number after the decimal point here, and 1 number after the decimal point there. So in the question, there are 2 numbers after the decimal point. So in the answer, you also have to have 2 numbers after the decimal point. So in 18, the decimal point would be here. Move it back 1 number, move it back 2 numbers. So now there are 2 numbers after my decimal point. Obviously, don't forget to put the 0 in front. 1 mark. C. 8.7 take away 5.25. So I'm going to set this out in a takeaway sum so I make sure I don't make any mistakes. So I'm going to write 8.7. And when you're doing a takeaway sum using decimals, use the column method. The decimals have to be in a nice straight line. So I'm going to do that first so I don't make any mistakes. So here's where my answer will be. It's a takeaway. Lots of people make a mistake and add here. You will lose a mark straight away. So then I have to put in my 5.25 into my sum. 5.25. Now I've got a gap here, so I'm going to fill that in with a 0. Excuse me. Now I can take away. So 0 take away 5, I can't do that. I'm going to borrow from this 7. So that becomes a 6, and I carry the 1 over. 10 take away 5 is 5. 6 take away 2 is 4. 8 take away 5 is 3. So 8.7 take away 5.25 is 3.45 for 1 mark. Taking away fractions. So these here are the denominator, the bottom numbers. They're different. We need to make them the same to be able to do this sum. So how do we make them the same? We take the bigger number first because it's easier to work with. We need to find a number that is in both the 8 times table and the 4 times table. So I'm going to do my 8 times table until I find a number that's also in the 4 times table. So 8 times table starts off with 8. That's obviously in the 8 times table. And it's also in the 4 times table as well. 4, 8. So my bottom number is going to be 8 for both of the fractions. Now I have to find out, what did I do to this 8 to get to that 8? I timesed it by 1. What did I have to do to get to that, from that 4 to this 8? I timesed it by 2. So now what I do to the bottom numbers, I must do to the top numbers by following the arrows. So the 8 I times by 1 to give me 8. So the 7 I have to times by 1 to give me 7. What I do to the bottom number, I must do to the top number. Follow the arrows. 4 times 2 is 8. 1 times 2 is 2. Now, these fractions are much easier to take away because they have the same denominator, the same bottom number. So I keep my bottom number the same as 8, and then I just take away the top numbers. 7 take away 2 is 5. I can't simplify that to make it any easier. 5 over 8 is the final answer. So you'll get 1 mark if they see the correct denominator at the bottom, and then 1 mark for 5 over 8 is your final answer.